Personally, thank you so much for inviting me. This is my very first podcast, so I'm a bit nervous, but I'm very excited as well. I started off writing at the age of 8 to 10.
I'm going to go into other things as well, but as we are continuing to talk about writing, um, what is an average writing day look for you like? Because there are projects that you do and complete. I'm pretty sure there are days when you dedicate to writing.
I generally write at night when everything is like closed down, shut down. I have a this big cup of coffee, just black hot coffee, and my tab. Yeah, that's it. I observe a lot. So I'm generally the kind of person to just sit and watch the and then somewhat the other way it is seen in my writing.
Hi, and welcome to Soul Velocity. I am Snehal Singh, your host, and I'm excited to take you on this incredible journey where we tap into the wisdom of entrepreneurs, authors, and creative visionaries, people who are transforming the world in ways we cannot even imagine. As the name suggests, Soul Velocity is all about finding that pivotal direction for your soul, mind, and body. A place where deep, real conversations ignite the fire to keep you moving forward. Right now, I'm thrilled to bring you a special series called as Voices and Verses 100 Authors and Countless Stories. This series is all about celebrating the writing world, connecting with authors, publishers, marketers, entrepreneurs, screenwriters, playwrights, and filmmakers who are shaping the stories that inspire us all. Through these conversations, my goal is to encourage aspiring writers, support seasoned authors, and spark new ideas that can inspire you to take you on your own creative journey to the next level. Whether you're here to learn, connect, or simply just enjoy some amazing stories, you are in the right place. Let's dive in together. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Soul Velocity, and we are connecting to new authors in every episode as we go. I'm your host Snehal Singh, and today I do have a very special guest with us, and that is Anuraa Wagh. At just 15, Anuraa is already a multifaceted individual with a vibrant journey in both arts as well as sports. Pursuing an education in arts, she's also a proud member of Model United Nations, where she owns her diplomatic and leadership skills. She is an amazing and an absolute passionate writer since the age of 10. And Anura has a natural gift of storytelling and an expressive language pattern. Capturing her unique perspectives and ideas with ease is something that comes very naturally to her. And I am so looking forward to the conversation with her. There is so much more to her personality and facet at such a young age that let's explore that as we go through the conversation. So, Anura, first of all, welcome to Soul Velocity, and a huge gratitude for being a part of Navarasa, which is Mind Spirit Works. Very latest book that is coming up. So thank you for that. And Anura, I did a very brief introduction of you. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about you, because there is so much more to you. So tell us a little bit more about you, who you are, and then we'll just jump into the conversation.
Personally, thank you so much for inviting me. This is my very first podcast, so I'm a bit nervous, but I'm very excited as well. Um, a little more about me is that um I am I started off writing at the age of 8 to 10. So I had a knack of writing since a very young age. And yeah, gradually that knack turned into passion, and now we are here, my very first book, so I'm very excited for it.
Thank you. So, guys, one more thing to add about Andra is one of her achievements. Actually, most of her achievements also go beyond her just academics and writing because she is excellent in athletics as well, and having won a gold medal at state level in basketball. I think she is very much guided by a strong belief in independence, freedom, and I have personally seen Anurag very committed to, not only her personal growth but very creative exploration. Like when we discussed the idea the first time, also she jumped right in saying, "We'll do it. Let's do it." Okay, so there is that "let's do it" attitude, which I adore about you, Anurag. Thank you, for just being yourself. Okay. And I don't think you're nervous because you're sounding just perfect. Okay. So let's begin with your earliest memory. Can you tell us your earliest memory of falling in love with this concept of writing?
My earliest memory was when I started writing for an education competition. It was my very first elocution competition, and the topic was something related to my vacations, how I spent my vacations. So I started writing, and I went with the flow, and that somehow that writing turned out to be, very different from what I had expected. I wanted to win that elocution competition because, well, I was getting a chocolate for reward. One of my very favorite chocolates. So I wanted to win that competition. And after reading it out, I was told that I should continue writing because everyone who heard my speech, they said that you've written it very well. And you should continue writing. You should give writing a thought. And my mom encouraged me a lot. So I started off writing.
Wow.
That was my
So
very first memory.
that's the earliest memory, but was there any pivotal moment or, a particular person who inspired you to become a writer?
Well, there are a lot of authors that I look up to. We have Sudha Murthy, Enid Blyton, Roald Dahl. They are all my childhood favorite authors. I have been reading their books since a very young age. So I ended up developing, a British type of English. So my English is a bit different compared to what we speak over here. That is because I read their books. So Sudhamurthy played a very important role in my writing journey because her books they just made me feel so happy. And and there was a moment wherein I wanted to clear my thoughts. I figured that writing helps me understand myself and calm down and prioritize the thoughts that I have. So that is how I started writing. That is a very important moment.
I can
I
actually
figured.
relate to that because for me, my personal favorite has been Sudha Murthy. One, author I relate to because earlier when I was, going kind of back to back, one book and then another book and another book, there were a lot of people who kind of questioned me saying, "How can you get out of book so quick?" And I'm like, she does it and she's done so many books. I think it is possible, and she said that in a way standard that you can be absolutely simple in your life and yet be super creative and crazy in a world of imagination. And I really 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 love her work in general. Like, I've read nearly all books that she's written so far. So I can relate to what you're saying. um Anura, so I'm going to go into other things as well, but as we are continuing to talk about writing, um, what does an average writing day look for you like? Because there are projects that you do and complete. I'm pretty sure there are days when you dedicate to writing. So how does that day on an average look like?
That day, on an average, well, I look at writing as a form of unwinding. So when I'm having an extremely tiring and an extremely long day, which is very busy, and then I generally write at night when everything is like closed down, shut down. I have a this big cup of coffee, just black hot coffee, and my tab. Yeah, that's it. That's a typical day for me is when I'm having an extremely busy day, and then I'm finally I get some time to myself. That is when I start.
Then how do you find inspiration? Is there any particular event, unexpected events or places that you draw your inspiration from, or how do you find your ideas and nurture them? Because art writers and artists are filled with ideas all the time. So what are your steps from ideation to the actual reality?
I observe a lot. So I'm generally the kind of person to just sit and watch people. And I just watch them and I just take everything in my mind. I register everything. And then some or the other way it is seen in my writing. Be it everyday habits, be it something that you don't usually do every day, but you decide to do it one day, you know. I
Hmm.
just observe people. And then it is seen in my writing. You will see a lot of everyday activities, a lot of, you know, normal people like activities in my stories.
So creativity and feeling blocked, I think, is talked generally in one sentence. So did you ever feel any creativity blocks? Do you believe that there is a writer's block or a creator's block or things like that?
I personally am a spontaneous writer. So if there is an idea, if I end up getting an idea, I write it down, it marinates over the days, and then one fine day I sit and I write. But then there are days wherein I just can't think of anything. But then it comes writing comes pretty spontaneous to me. I can't really relate much with a writer's block.
Uh-huh.
Block.
So I know you don't connect, but then would you have any advice to give in terms of if anyone is feeling blocked or is experiencing a writer's block, according to them? Any suggestions, anything? Because you are an avid reader and an avid writer, so anything.
My advice, just observe as much as you can. You'll find these smallest activities that give you inspiration, that give you idea. Like these smallest activities, you'll find something or the other that is worth writing after you do something or you see something. There's something that is always there. Just keep your eyes and all of your senses open. You will grasp it.
Interesting. Uh, so this is just me asking out of curiosity because I deal with teenagers and children pretty much on regular basis. Anura, you started writing when you were 10. Okay. You pretty much had an accomplishment by 15. You're also an athlete. You're doing many other things. You have your school. How do you manage to find the time to do everything, like being an athlete? Because that's a different, being an athlete needs discipline. It's a very TikTok clock that you have to stick to, wherein creativity is absolutely free flowing. So how do you manage or balance or make it happen? What is it for you?
Uh, I am not really honestly, even though I am an athlete, my schedules are not organized at all. Okay, you'll find me everywhere. You will find me some even in my college currently that I'm studying in. You'll find me everywhere in singing, in dancing, in speaking. We have anchoring, everything. You see me everywhere. I am the kind of person that likes to do everything.
So how do you make time? Because that's exactly my question. Like if you like doing all these things, uh, how are you making it happen? Because there are many who are not even participating. Or I see a huge complaint when it comes to I don't wake up that early. I missed my classes. I missed blah blah blah. When you are making it happen, so what makes you different than people who are at your age?
I Well, I one thing I've learned from my family is that if you like it, you have to do it by hook or crook. No one's gonna get it for you. No one's gonna make it happen for you. So if you like it, then you are gonna have to take the efforts, the difficulties for that. You're gonna have to face through all the difficulties. And yeah, I if it is needed, I do wake up very early to get my things on schedule again. But then I don't like that part at all.
Hmm. It's interesting. But I think having that understanding of if I want it, I need to make it happen and I need to do it, irrelevant of how I feel about it. I think that's the crux of everything. Anna, has it ever happened that you've started something and then, by the time you reach the end, you're already dragging it? The motivation is not as much as it was at the beginning. So, what do you do in situations like that?
I talk to my mom. My mom is my biggest supporter. So, I mean, there have been days that I genuinely don't feel like doing anything. Like, I just wanna sit and I just wanna watch something, some series, or maybe just eat an entire day, or just sleep. There have been days wherein I wanted to do that. But then when I do feel like that, then I have my mom who is always there. She'll notice because otherwise I have energy bursts in myself. I go jumping around in the house, I go everywhere, and she knows I don't sit straight. Okay, so when she finds me sitting all tired, she knows something is up and then she'll come and talk to me. So after
Hmm.
talking to her, after seeing everything and realizing everything, everything's back on track. It gives me the motivation that I need.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Again, it's interesting to see how you guys look at relationship and how we guys used to look at relationship. And I'm so glad to see that little ounces of you're still connecting to your parents and you're still connecting to your mom and having those conversations that feels good. Okay. And you also read to a certain extent. And I, in my daily life, I meet so many authors. Some of them genuinely just want to write and share it with the world, but have not read a single book in their life. Then there are some who are so crazy readers that you have to tell them, Baba, stop your research. Can you get to your writing part? Okay. What and which category do you fall in? And how do you feel? Do you feel reading is important, or a writer doesn't need to read? Where do you fall?
Well, it depends on what you're writing exactly. If your writing involves a lot of information, then of course you're gonna need a lot of research, reading. That all of that is needed. But then if you're writing maybe a storybook or maybe just genuinely writing something to make this trying to make sense out of things. That is something I feel that doesn't really need much reading because stories are basically everyday life. Uh, everyday life. What do you say? Mm, Just it is just something that happens every day, and you just write about it. One. It is nothing out of the blue. So
Correct.
I think depend on what you're writing.
Perfect. It is said that we are an average of five people that we spend our time with. Okay. So, being a writer, how important is it for writers to connect with other creatives or creators? Any memorable experience of ever collaborating with other writers or so on?
Well, my grandfather is an author as well. So I am a family person. Okay, my world is my mom, my two sisters, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my masi. Okay, I am with these people all the time. So you will see a lot of instances of them in me, a lot of personality of them. They are my world. So and my mom is also a co-author. My grandfather is an author. So I haven't really collaborated with them because they have law books. They write law books. But then I get a lot of intel from them, or maybe a lot of information from them as to how do you write books, or how do you first, research, and then you give certain amount of time for research, and then you give certain amount of time for thinking about it, and then for writing. So my
Hmm.
grandfather basically breaks his writing into three parts, and then he gets his books done. So
Got it.
I learned that from him in my stories.
What is the most rewarding part of being a writer?
After the story is done, and then I read it out to my family.
Hmm. And if you could define your relationship with writing in just one sentence, what would that be?
Uh, this one sentence. Something that stresses me out but also gives me a lot of peace.
I love that. Stress and peace in one sentence. Amazing. Um, Before we move to the closing, Anura, if our listeners, anyone would want to begin writing today, so is there any prompt, an exercise, something that you would like to give them that will spark their, creativity?
Uh, I I read a lot of self-help or maybe autobiographies. Autobiographies really help you change your perspective when it comes to looking at the world. If you want to start writing and you need more perspectives, different perspectives, you should really focus on reading a lot of autobiographies. They
Interesting.
really help you a lot.
Interesting. Thank you, Anura. Anura, any suggestion, any tips, or any message that you would like to give our listeners today before we close?
Uh, any mess, any message? Well, there is a favorite saying of mine, uh, which is said by Edison.
Mm-hmm.
I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
True, true.
Basically, that it's not failure, it's just you're learning something new.
I love that. Thank you for an amazing conversation. And guys, if you're listening to this, Anura is a part of Navarasa. Her chapter is all her chapter, no, her story, an amazing short story is already there in Navarasa. So when you're listening to this, you will find the link to Navarasa in our caption. As well as you can find her profile as well to connect with her and follow her work as well. As you can see, she's an absolute multi potentialist and enjoys all dimensions of life. So, once again, Andra, thank you for being here and sharing your little time with us. So, thank you.
So much for having me here.
Thank you. And to all the listeners, guys, remember we all are born abundant. All we need to do is claim that abundance by taking one step at a time. So, I hope you've taken that one step today. Take care. See you soon.